All right, so you've all seen this drawing. I did this, 2 days ago? Now, I wanted to change the way the legs were. I didn't think the perspective looked right. So as you can see, I started adding some stuff. And what I like to do to these drawings is after I finish them, I like to go back in and make revisions to them. Add, subtract, add a little more shading, a little more detail. And it's really subtle, but it can make a really, really big difference. So that's what we're doing today. All right, we got some really good comments to go over, but first I want to explain what I'm doing. So you've seen these two drawings that I did already. I pump them out pretty quickly, so I start from pencil to ink, and you watch the whole process. They're pretty fast, and after the video's done, and I have them just sitting there, I have time to kind of look at them. You know, you go over and pick out where the perspective is off, and maybe the legs don't look right, or maybe there's not enough shadow. And I'll go back in and touch them up. Normally, I do that at my own leisure, and I just sort of, well, add a little here and there. But I thought, hey, why not film it? Then you can kind of see more of what the finished product would look like if I was going to try to present that as something like in a portfolio or whatever. I'm not quite there yet. I gotta. My drawings are getting better, but I'm still knocking the rust off, and I'm also taking some tutorials for how to do anime manga style art, so I can't wait to show you. That's something totally new for me, but it's actually fairly straightforward. I really love the way they do their facial expressions, and I just like the way I like the way the ladies look. Usually they have bigger weapons. All right, so I present to you me finishing my drawings. You guys let me know what you think. And as always, in the comments, shoot me a request, and I will pick one out, and I'll do it for you, if you should so desire. On to the comments. All right, first comment. Eaton Beaver, CZ6ZM. We're talking about life, and I was talking about my gut issues. Oh, I get really distended belly sometimes. Yeah, I don't know about the gut, bro. I would have thought HGH. Now, the common misconception is if you abuse human growth hormone and insulin, things of that nature, it causes your organs to grow, and you also get visceral fat deposits around your organs. And then that's why you see these big guts that a lot of the modern bodybuilders have. I have never taken HGH, ever, or nor have I taken insulin. That's terrifying, if you ask me. And I've only been on anabolics since the age of 46, and I'll be 50 next month, so that's not that long. And this is something I've had for a long time. It's just gotten kind of worse as I've gotten older. It could just be a thing that happens with the modern diet. It absolutely is. I see tons of strong, natural dad bod guys with strong, relatively lean cores with that as well. And this is what made me think it's like visceral fat around the organs from high blood sugar. It can be. That can be a contributing factor. It's one of those issues where two things can be true at the same time. So in my case, I have a split in my eyeball, which is a physical defect that needs to be fixed. And I have severe bloating, so they both kind of contribute. So I got two things going, and it's true that people that have fat around their organs can also suffer from severe bloating from really bad diet, as one generally causes the other, and as we get older, it gets way more pronounced. You just get to a certain age where if you eat something that your body disagrees with, it's I don't know, when you're younger, 5 years ago, I could eat whatever I wanted, and now I gotta watch everything. No. As well, maybe think there's blood sugar. But then there's guys with DEXA scans that show they don't have visceral fat, like me. I've heard some guys getting it from permanent abdominal stretching, from being obese or out of shape for a while. I had abdominal stretching, but that can also be genetics, like in my case. I'll show you here in a second. And could just be genetics. My grandfather had it, and he also had celiac disease or something with inflammation from gluten. Nowadays, I just stick to like 750 milligrams of test and 50 milligrams of Anadrol. So I don't normally like to talk about like what I take unless you private message me. But my normal protocol for all you guys out there is around 170 milligrams of test and 200 milligrams of Masterone. That's my normal cruise. Now that will go up or down based on blood work. I try to keep my testosterone numbers in the upper range of a normal male, like the 1,000 to 1,200 at max. I don't like to go above that. If I start taking too much, I'll keep breaking out. I get little zits. That sucks. So there's other side effects that go with it. Plus, it's, guys my age, the whole idea is longevity. Well, maybe it isn't for some people, but for me, it's like, okay, so when I'm getting ready for a meet, I bump all that up. I will take Anadrol before a meet, and usually 50 milligrams a day when I'm training. As I get close to the meet, those numbers get bumped up to closer to like around 100 on training days. And then I cut all that off after the competition. The point is like at my age, you want to do the minimum efficacious amount. So like the minimum amount you actually get results from, and no more. And increments, small increments. A little goes a long way. Some people don't respond. Some people are hyper responders. I tend to lean towards hyper responder, but I don't really have a lot of context, so I don't know. Now, as you can see, I've already eaten today, so I got a little bit of bloating, but there's nothing there. And then you can say, well, the visceral fat are on the organs. The only way to see that is with scans. Boom, 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 boom. And then I got this split right here in the ab wall. That needs to be like literally like a tummy tuck sewn together. So they're gonna go in there and do like a tummy tuck, same procedure. And I was told to show off the boobies there a little. I was told to wait until I'm done competing to do that, because that's a surgical procedure, and once you do that, it kind of takes you out of the game. You got a competition coming up in October. My doctor said just make sure you're wearing a belt when you go heavy and keep that core tight. You relax that core, it can contribute to the stretching. As far as the bloating goes, they had me on antibiotics to kill all the gut flora, which is where I'm at now. And now I have to load up on probiotics. They're trying that out. I'm on an elimination diet, which means we've eliminated everything from my diet that causes bloating, and now we're going to slowly add things back to see what I can tolerate. I don't appear to have celiac disease. I don't have a gluten intolerance, but there's definitely like a problem with processed sugar, hydrocarbons like the oils that are in processed foods. Certain kinds of nuts do it. I don't know. Almonds aren't too bad, but the cashews are good. There's some oats and nuts that I was eating that caused a problem, and then leafy greens that are not cooked. So eating raw salads will contribute greatly to gas. And on top of all that, they have to do a colonoscopy because there's a possibility that I have an obstruction in my large intestines, and that's actually contributing to it. So that's like 3 separate things. Happy birthday, I mean, these could have been progressing for the last 10 years unaware, and now they're all coming together, and hey, we're getting older, guys. I don't know what to tell you. All I know is that it really sucks. But yeah, I'm going to keep doing my thing. I'm going to keep training. I'm going to keep trying to eat better, and I'm going to go to my doctor and try to solve this problem. And and we're still going to compete in October. And we're still going to kick ass and take names. And then, of course, the rest of the hobby stuff. We'll continue with all that because that's just fun. And if I did have to stop working out, I guess I would just be doing Warhammer. So, there's worse things, I suppose. Next comment is from Cigar King ASMR. He writes, "Bro, your feet are slipping all over the place." And my angry Marine goes hard and as possible on the heavy bag as a way to manage anger and stress. I'm wearing my squat shoes. I never took my squat shoes off, and I just decided to wail on the heavy bag because I was having a bad day and I just wanted to get some anger out. So yeah, they do on the flooring I have. They slide a little bit, but I said, ha, you got me. I still have my squat shoes on from the first part of the workout. Normally I change shoes or go barefoot, but I was being lazy. God bless YouTube to find the most pedantic thing to pick on. I never get things like, hey, man, you're moving really good for a 50-year-old. Wow, you hit that bag hard. Things like that. I never, like, I could squat 600 pounds, and I never hear, like, dude, this 50-year-old man that weighs less than 220 just squat 3 times his body weight. No, I get comments on, like, wow, you need longer shorts, or, something stupid. And all that tells me is you guys are just haters. But I love the comment. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm not sure how that helps me. If you have any suggestions, I would love to hear it. I'm guessing you're not going to respond to that, though. So, yeah. All right. Next comment is from Runner Boy. Low bar versus high bar squat video. You break at the hips and knees at the same time. It's a common mistake to break at the knees first for high bar squatting. My cue was break the knees instead of the hips. I wrote, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that kind of built in? Like when you have a load on your back, when you break the knees, don't your hips kind of have to break with them? But if it's a correction I need to make, what I would like you to do maybe is, because your squat is beautiful. Like I'm not going to argue with a guy like you because you have a beautiful squat and high bar is your thing. Maybe you put together a video and tag me. I would love to see you do a presentation on it. And I really mean that. I'm not being what's the word? Contrarian. I would actually like to see that. And for any of you guys looking to get into squatting, Runner Boy is an outstanding resource. He's got a beautiful squat. One of the prettiest I've ever seen, to be honest with you. All right, the next comment, Ego Lift Daily. I'm Catholic on paper. Now, this is responding to comments while I draw more female space marines, so my last video. I'm Catholic on paper, wanted to become a priest and study various religions. That's interesting. My dad was studying to be a Catholic priest. He actually went to a seminary. He didn't go through with it either. Lost faith, and coincidentally, the fourth horseman of atheism and atheist content was peaking at the time, so I became an atheist in my late 20s. I think that was, what is it, Peter Thiel, who's the other three? Oh, God, they're not coming to mind. Not Eric Weinstein. Peter Thiel. God, I can't remember, but you know who the four horsemen of atheism, they basically brought morality to atheism, and their argument was essentially that, you don't have to to believe in God to be a good person or to have morality. And they presented lots. They're very philosophical, really intelligent guys, leaders in their fields, rich. And so and when they became popular, so did atheism. Kind of reverted in my late 30s. I believe in God and in most recent times, but I avoid attending church activities. I've done work for the church, and I've seen a lot of corruption. Don't get me started on the Catholic Church. What changed my mind was the synchronicities I experienced in life. I interpret them as God guiding me through life. Yeah, I've had a lot of moments like that. Never really read further into it, but heard from Peter Kreeft lecture that there's a Christian sect that says heaven and hell are the same place, just different reactions to the presence of God. A person who loves God experiences heaven in his presence. A person who hates God experiences hell in his presence. Yeah, I try not to think about the meaning of life and the afterlife. It tends to give me an existential crisis. Yeah, so me turning 50 might be the catalyst of that, because it's like I'm looking at the clock going, wow, that sure went fast. It's interesting because the four horsemen of atheism, what got me into religion was listening to Dr. Jordan Peterson debate these guys. And he got me interested. And here's a guy himself who doesn't know what he believed, especially at the time. I had to pause there to gather my thoughts, because we're talking about, what do I have against the Catholic Church? All right, you guys ready? Okay, now, I'm not for or against any of the issues, but the book, the Bible, states things very clearly. And I'm not saying I believe in them. I'm saying I don't know, but I can say that what the book says is the Word of God is immutable, meaning it doesn't change. It's not open to interpretation. You can make the argument that we interpret it wrong when we put it in the book and presented it to the world, King James, but the Word of God says that it's immutable. And there's a special place in hell for people that pervert the Word of God. So if I am intentionally presenting you the Word of God incorrectly, that's like the worst type of sin that you can commit. You can like these, you see these mega churches, and you don't even get me started on those. I mean, though we can all agree those are all con men, but they lead millions astray. And there's a special place in hell, according to the Bible, for those guys. Man, now the Catholic Church. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with female pastors, but the Bible that they supposedly follow states that there can only be men. It clearly states it, so for them to put women Bible in and then rework the Word of God, that's strike number one. Strike number two is when they hid all the pedophiles, the pedophilia, and they just kind of covered for them, and that's well documented. Strike two. Strike three. Pope Benedict left. He was the first pope to leave. Most of them die in office. He left, and when he left, he stated that there is a very eloquent demon in the Vatican. He said that. That came out of his mouth. Strike three. Strike four. They're now trying to accept the LGBTQ plus LMNOP Wi-Fi password people and incorporate them into the church. Now, I'm not saying that's good or bad. I am not for or against that. I am against it, but we're not going there. What I am saying is, again, the book clearly states that's a no-go. That's no bueno. So for them to not only accept it, but elevate it, and I know what they're doing. They're pandering. They're pandering and trying to become socially acceptable, but that goes against their own Word of God, which makes them friggin' hypocrites. What do we have to strike four? Strike five, and this is the biggest one. The current Pope is a frickin' collectivist, a communist, and then he's trying to associate himself. He's trying to create a one-world religion. Any biblical implications there, boys and girls? Where he's getting together with like the Muslims and the leaders of that faith, and they're all trying to create one acceptable religion. When look, I'm not saying I'm for or against the Nation of Islam. I have my opinions on it. It's being a Marine and having been deployed to we'll leave that out of it. We won't go there. But what we will say is that it is it's the antithesis to the New Testament. They are not compatible. They are 100% not compatible. Their book and the Bible are like vinegar or water and oil. It's just that they can't. They directly contradict each other. So you can't absorb one into the other and say kumbaya. Again, that's rewriting the Word of God. Now, I sound like I'm preaching here. I'm not preaching. I'm just stating what their religion is supposed to be and what they're doing, and I'm pointing out their own hypocrisy. I'm not saying I am for or against any of this stuff. Now, we can get into that. I can tell you what I'm for or against. I'm a simple man. I read the Bible. I read what the words say, and I go, that's interesting. And then I watch what they do, and I go, that's interesting. That doesn't say that. That kind of goes against what's written right here. I don't know. Am I a dummy? Am I the retard? And, the communist collectivist thing? Nah, no. First of all, goes directly against God. Like, for the most part, all collectivists, communist socialism, the first thing you have to do is get rid of God so that the state can take its place. Now, we've seen this in every single instance of communism. And for all these Gen Z, Zoomer, Boomer, Zinger, whatevers that are clamoring for the end of capitalism and they want collectivism, look, this happened in our lifetime. It was, if you could show me one example of where that worked and made everybody prosperous, you cannot tax your way to prosperity. And, all these people that don't want to work and they just want the state to take care of them, you can get away with that because there's people like me that still produce things that you could take from us to give to those that don't produce. But once you lose all of that, and nobody's producing anymore, what are you left with? You're going to have to go to work, and you will be assigned a position by the state, and if you don't do it, you're not going to eat. Now, everybody talks about China's free healthcare. They have no social nets over there. They have no benefits. Like, if you're disabled or you can't work, you get nothing. You might have free healthcare, but do a little more than a cursory amount of research, and you'll find that many of them die waiting in the parking lot to get in to see it. And then when they get in there, it's subpar at best. A lot of it is based on your social status and a lot of other things. And we hear about this. Canada's got such an awesome healthcare system, and all these countries that are socialists have this great healthcare. They don't have to pay for their healthcare. Well, they have over 50% tax, so you're paying for your health care, believe me. And you're very limited in the services that you can get. So if you have, like, life-threatening ailments, like, you can say what you want about America's system, and it's screwed up. I cannot stand America's healthcare system. But what we do have is innovation and technology. So if you at least have access to services, whether you can get to them or not, I don't know. I'm kind of lucky. I have the VA, and everybody used to complain about the VA and say how horrible it was, but I've been going since I got out of the service, and I found them to be much better than I have insurance. I have insurance through work. I can go see a regular doctor, and I did. I used a PPO. I paid for the PPO, and I went to go see a civilian doctor, and it was way worse than the VA. And then when it was all done, I couldn't get my records transferred, and it was just a nightmare. Now, my experience is anecdotal. I realize it's just me. It could have been that doctor. It could be that insurance. It could be the area you're located in. And I've heard that the VA's really screwed up in other parts of the country. But the two places where I've been to the VA is here in Vegas. Top-notch, awesome services, can't complain. They've taken really good care of me. And Martinsburg, West Virginia. Again, awesome. I had no issues. Maybe a little bit slower service. They helped me out immensely. Their hospital was a little bit older, but the people were great. So I've had nothing but good experiences with the VA. And you can say that's socialized medicine. Yes, it is. But you have to remember that for a while there, the VA was killing veterans. Like, it was bad. So they got caught up in the spotlight, and it was all eyes on the VA. And as a result, they're going out of their way to make sure that they're giving stellar service. So if that didn't happen and the eyes weren't on the VA, who knows what it would turn into. And it could turn into that in the future once everybody forgets about it, as we do over the years, and things start going back to normal. You never know, but because we've been in perpetual war since I was born, and mental health is such a huge thing that they're pushing, the VA is actually really good care. But again, it's because it's popular for, if you want to get elected, that's going to be a high ticket item for you. Whereas, like, conversely, state health care for, like, people that are indigent or homeless or, like, low income, there's not as big of a spotlight on that, and their health care sucks. Again, that's state to state, anecdotal, I don't know. This is what I will say. I don't know, man. the government tries to fix things. They tried to fix things by implementing our insurance system. Everything that the government sticks its hands in, it just makes it worse. And everybody complains about our capitalist society and our healthcare system. We do not live in a capitalist society. The government says who you can do business with, who's going to trade, so it seems like it's capitalism, and it has elements of capitalism, but there's no free market, and so you're not even fighting against capitalism when you fight against this country. We're more socialist than socialist countries. Same thing with our medical system. Anytime the government enforces something, it makes it worse because it takes away competition. Like automobile insurance, you have to get automobile insurance. You have no choice. Well, that means auto insurance companies can pretty much charge whatever they want. And guess what? You've got to pay for it. Suck it up, buttercup. If they had to compete against each other for your services, and they didn't have governments telling everybody they have to buy your services, they would have a little bit of competition, and I bet you those prices would come down. But we don't have that here in America, so you're not fighting against capitalism. You're almost fighting against socialism, and you want more socialism. It's interesting. The government screwed everything up, so you want more government. The same people to fix it? I don't know. It just sounds like you hate rich people, and you just want us to suffer like you are. I want to say, well, I'm not rich. Well, okay, so with the amount of money, I guess I'm middle class. But I make enough money to support a family, so I guess I would be in that category because you don't make any money. So, I don't know. The whole argument's stupid, but it's something that I've studied extensively, and I would love to have a debate and go toe-to-toe with one of these people. Oh, man, what a good time that would be. Damn it, I did it again. I talked my way out of the other comments I wanted to get to. I gotta go to bed. It's late at night. I guess I don't even really need to be up because I'm working swing shifts, but I'm getting tired. Give me some comments. Tell me what you think. I love you guys. Thank you. I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the battlefield.